How do you make yourself look more credible and higher integrity? Just sit or stand by Donald Trump? Because the contrast would show, right? If he was like sucking up to Trump, they'd be just as bad as him. So, put my headphones on this for this one. The last reading had some echo here and there, and I thought it wasn't going to be too bad. When there is echo, it was a bit bad. I did mute it occasionally. The feedback on the mic was a bit annoying, I thought. But at the same time, you get some better idea of what who's genuine and who isn't, who's there to get things done for the reasons for being there, rather than Trump who just every split second, every moment. Like I said about Aaron Costello and narcissists in general, solid through and through, every microsecond and split the microsecond in half. All they're thinking about is, oh, I need to look the best way. I need to manipulate people. It's all about the superficial layer, and America has been annoyingly superficial for way too long in its so-called culture. It's just the consumerism and entertainment, but facts don't matter. Education doesn't matter, and so on. The disdain for people who are working hard to be better educated as well. Let's say you can call it a culture of um, disdain for that. You know, oh, you nerd, go touch some grass. And like I've said before, I do. I live in a rural area. I was just walking on grass just now prior to doing this video. I'm surrounded by trees and surrounded by mountainous range of forests. It's beautiful. Aesthetically pleasing. Even more aesthetically pleasing, perhaps, some areas where I'm going in the 2nd of June. If I get some footage out there, regardless of all that. The I would like to look at things like this in a deeper level. There's plenty that Carney's doing as well that you could read in better, more depth here and there, and I'll probably get there to that. You know, at the moment, I still feel like a little bit rough on going proper deeper dive. Um, but the more I read up about this and the more I practice reading other people, the more I work in environments where, like my day job is social discourse with customers, the better I'm going to get, despite the fact that one of my work colleagues, uh, they've improved, but they're still bloody annoying. They just won't shut up. And it's good to have a conversation with customers, banter and so on. The customers are trying to get away sometime, and he just will not stop talking. He doesn't know how to read people. And I wonder if there's some thing wrong there. In there's reasons why he can't seem to notice some of these things. Regardless, let's transition. Here we go. You're not protecting Canada. You're such idiots. Canada feels like it needs to protect itself from you, you fucking shithead. Let's recap a little bit anyway. Oh, you can't hear that for some reason. Let me see. Properties. Uh, see what that does. A lot of the players. There we go.
but now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
Canada's a special place. How? In what way is it special to him? I prefer him to go into details, but he just thinks it's going to look better because Canada's beautiful, and it look even better still if you got rid of that border. It just all be beautiful. He wants to swallow up beautiful countries, right? Because why? Because America's fucking ugly because the capitalism has destroyed it. There's no decent aesthetic appeal. It's just you got the big grasslands and mountainous ranges I'm surrounded by. What will America do to that? I can bulldoze it down. Just maintain the forest around you. And the wood goes to production, furniture and other things. For every tree knocked down, there's 3 trees planted. Regardless, anyway.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the.
But like I said in previous one, anyway, he's just saying things that he thinks, oh, would influence, because he's that dumb. He thinks other people are as dumb as he is. He's just saying things that he thinks, oh, there is something in it for us then. Okay, let's annex Canada. And Canada's far more intelligent, educated, has a education system that is valued. Unlike America, when education system that is undervalued.
The Canadian citizens, you get free military, you get tremendous.
How you get free military, I don't know. No, you can't. There's no such thing.
Medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a.
And he says nothing about how those advantages that he just made up, pulled out his ass, would work. He's begging, groveling for Canada to be part of the United States. He's a fucking idiot, I tell you.
Massive tax cut, and it's also
not just a tax cut, but a massive tax cut. What, for the rich? And turn Canada into a shit stain like America. You got a few rich oligarchs running the show. I don't think Canada, and Mark Carney certainly isn't an advocate of that in any way, shape, or form. Plenty of evidence. Mark Carney is very much aligned with the people, by the people, for the people. You know, things familiar, doesn't it? Something in the distant past I can remember. Has never really been talked about much or valued much. What was it? We the people? Something like that? Yeah. Where did I hear that?
so a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that.
The comments. I like the comments before you get into proper reading here. And that's the only time here Trump is really raised his hands decently to describe something, and he's going to talk about that line, that border. Have a look. Dear people of Canada, Switzerland, stand with you. Stay strong. He worked Carney, said it to his face. What do you mean he worked him, you dumb fucks? I think Carney... nah. Weirdo. There we go. There's a lot of people who think the Oval Office looks like shit. The Oval Office is looking tacky and cheap with gold everywhere. Trump trying to be an Arabian Sikhi. I'm not sure. I don't know if you pronounce it that way. Someone joking around. Did carny even say thank you once? He doesn't have the cards. The cards that Trump has, he has anyway, will all be made in China anyway. What the fuck is bro talking about? Yeah, I know. It does. It do be like that. Americans could take Canada. What's a betting that just goes to a blank, no videos account? Any videos of their own? Or was it just, oh, they got some of their own, but it looks like it's all takes from other things as they're not really producing. Yeah, not much going on there. Not much going on at top. Oh yeah, I was going to read up on about that. Science proves trans people are making it up. We're getting to that. Steve, fucking idiot. He's very artistic. Don't know what this person's smoking, but it can't be too good. God bless my wonderful president, Donald Trump. What are you fucking weirdo? Harry would have said Canada 50 first win. Thanks, Trump. Oh, did he? Oh, let's get there. Let's pique my curiosity because this theory that Carney's opposition was being influenced by this bag of shit right here.
Artificially drawn line. Somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a.
It's not a straight line. It's just not. Even the straightest parts of it were curved.
Straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful.
I know what this I'm recapping, yeah, but I just want to kind of border. Map. Yeah, such a Trump doesn't know what a straight line is. Also, we count the curvature of the Earth as well. It's going to be a curved line as well, anyway. But yeah, there you go round. This is where I was talking about this more. This particular area. That's not a straight line. And if it was all flattened out from the curvature of the planet, this would be relatively straighter. Then it gets less straight here. So what the fuck's he talking about? He can't fucking read. He doesn't know how the border really is. He's got some tertiary assumptions of what he thought he saw before. He just Canada's beautiful, so it should be part of the United States because it's beautiful. Whereas Canada is probably saying America's fucking ugly. with a bag of shit president. We don't want no part of that. I mean that America is basically fucking ugly. It's got some not aesthetically appealing areas, but here and there. But yeah, when you see the beautiful countryside we got in the UK, the scenery and all that, that'll be shot all over by America. Or just, turn it into concrete jungle or something. Just gross. Of course, people got to live somewhere. Yeah, I understand that, but don't get me started, right?
Formation when it's
So, carny, as I said before,
when you get rid of that artificially drawn line. Somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful
closing his eyes. Yeah. Well, the mouth open, who's sighing and ready to take a deep breath. That's Carly is doing. Like, oh, how many times? Here we go again.
formation.
And he looks away. Oh. He looks away and looks back. When will you stop? Looking away because he just can't believe it. Closes his eyes and kind of looks elsewhere briefly, then looks back. Just disbelief.
When it's together.
And looks. And you notice again, this body language repetition that Trump does, the accordion hands thing. Constant liar, constant disingenuous, constant half truths. It's all he does. But while he's doing that, he's trying to convince you that of some, that he wants you to think, oh yeah, that'd be good for whatever reasons, whatever he's saying, and in this case, it would be annexing Canada. And the hands come out. Look, no weapons, not hiding anything, honest, but while doing so, the hands have to come out in such a angled way. His arms are not free from the sides of his torso, his ribs. His elbows are attached to his ribs because he's protecting himself. Why? Because he's got something to hide. Because he generally wants to take over Canada because, oh, it's pretty, it's beautiful. And that's it. That's all it is. It's that. That's how. That's the depth of Donald Trump. There's no depth here. And I've had people in me past me talking about certain things, and people say, oh, that's deep. I've always wondered, it's like, are you complaining it's deep or you're enjoying the conversation? You know? I like depth because we live in a world that has depth. Don't have depth, then you're not worth hanging around. You're not worth my time. You think just being superficial and shallow gets you by, and but you're kind of obsessed about your own image as well. It's just bad news. Really bad news.
I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But it's.
Pardon me, just burped in the mic. Sorry.
I do feel it's.
So Carly's really pissed off there, and I don't know if we got to that point, recapping a bit in a previous video. But when you do that with your mouth and your tongue, like, kind of pokes to one side of your cheek, it's like, you're pissed off. And he's looking away again while Trump's blabbering, being performative to the media. It's like, are we going to fucking talk or what? Is kind of my interpretation of what would be in my brain. It was like, fuck this idiot. Are we going to actually get on with it or what? So watch Carney.
Artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But
slow that down.
You know,
Deep breath, lifting himself up so there's room for his lungs and for a deep breath because he's frustrated, as well as compressing his lips because he's holding back on what he would prefer to say.
I just.
And that while looking away as well, he's pissed off.
I do feel it.
And you see the jaw wobble there? It's a grind in his teeth.
But when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I.
What's his bottom jaw? Playback speed. Watch Carney's bottom jaw. On her left here. Watch Carney.
I do feel it's much better.
And after doing so, he opened his mouth for another breath. And he's like, "Oh, you finished?" He looks back at Trump.
For Canada. But
he wants to interject.
We're not going to be discussing that unless somebody.
We got to somewhere along here last time, so we'll skip that anyway, just to recap and go to normal speed.
But the opportunity is in the partnership, and
the opportunity is in the partnership. Not the opportunity for progress is not in annexing Canada. Opportunity being partnership, and you can't partnership with yourself. So if it's a partnership, therefore you're separate from this shit stain on the psyche of mankind, which is America. It really is a disgusting existence. Sorry, but it is.
The campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale.
It's not for sale, it won't be for sale. Trump going back to his repetitive nodding, looking down, like I said in a previous video.
Right now, you know,
not for sale.
Which honestly we give you essentially anyway, because we're protecting Canada. If you ever had a problem.
You're not. How are you protecting Canada? What way? Oh, protecting Canada. Let's raise the tariffs, and Canada suffers for it. He opens his mouth and sewage comes flowing out. Just this bag of shit breeds and spews shit everywhere, and he shits on everything he touches. It's fucking gross, I tell you.
Problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage, because it's.
So, second time, Carney tried to interject.
Two places they get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Not really. The politicians like to portray that. But like in the UK, politicians come over to visit the United States. United States officials come over to visit UK, talk to our politicians. It's all well and good, but the general citizens go to a public bar. Yeah, you have a different picture altogether. The British think you're dumb as fuck, generally, as a country, and it shows. And it produces idiots like Trump. A product of the shitty environment that doesn't value facts, education, science. The religiosity of America has ruined everything in America as well, among other things.
Well,
Carney, open body language and back to self-soothing a bit.
If I may.
And then leaning forward with the crowd, making more eye contact. The crowd, not Trump at that point, because Trump's never going to fucking listen anyway.
As you know.
And then briefly looking at Trump, who isn't making eye contact now, because he knows what's coming. Trump's looking at the ground, disingenuous, slouching. Trump's shoulders are up, looking at the ground.
From real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
So back to the. Oh yeah, I pretend to look serious and nod and nod and nod. Yes, yes, yes.
That's true.
We're sitting in one
That's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. Not even make eye contact.
right now. Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada.
That's true. Now, there's something you got to watch in body language. Sure, people talk about fake smiles, which isn't an habit for being dishonest necessarily, right? Because we're social creatures, we might politely smile and so on, and you're just hoping to get along. But the speed at which Trump went from that smile, oh, that's true, to what I paused it on now, that is very, very telling. When someone goes from one expression to another very fast, it guarantees the previous expression was, like as fast as it's almost like a switch. Takes a while for genuine chemical induced smiles or happiness or whatever to dissipate, and then that blend and transition as the body language transitioning as well. We're not robots. We don't switch over so easily. Watch how fast Trump does that. Watch Trump.
Some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now.
What are you going to say to that, Trump? His open body language, hand out. It's like, see, this is what I'm offering you. The absurdity of what you're saying. Literally offering a hand out like that. And making eye contact while saying it.
Buckingham Palace that you visited
Nervous laugh.
as well.
That's true.
And that's true.
And having met with the owners of.
How fast he goes. I mean, it's relatively slower than how fast I thought it was looking at it a second time, but it's very telling. And looking down to his left, which is self-talk, self-dialogue, internal dialogue. He's talking to himself at that point in time. Timing is very important in body language to see what's happening when something's being said and the timing and so on. It's not like he's doing that separate outside of the situation or the conversation. It's all the bigger picture you gotta look at here.
Of Canada over the course of the campaign.
Looking down, but I'll go back to pretending to nod then. And perhaps I'll raise it again later about annexing Canada.
Last several months, it's not for sale.
And,
It won't be for sale ever.
What?
It would be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now. Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign.
Trump swallows here or gulps or something. I don't know. It's just kind of a odd gulp here, and I think it's relating to his stress of not getting his own way.
Last several months, it's
right there. What was that?
We're sitting in one right now. Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale. Won't be for sale ever.
What a mess of a human being.
But the opportunity.
He's starting to rock a bit as well.
Is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership.
Snap back to reality. My government, you know. And you can just see Trump's behaviour is like, oh, yeah, here we are. It's Carney talking. It's looking at the ground and leaning back. Carney's making it clear. My government, not us. There's no we in this. Fuck off. Get out of the way of progress.
And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO.
Yeah, you've had to put more effort into it because you're living right next to a clusterfuck of epic proportions. So you think it's bad now, it's just going to continue this downfall. It get worse and worse and worse. You got a conspiracy nut job as health secretary claiming that vaccines cause autism and claiming that by September he's going to come up with a cure for autism. Autism is not a disease.
And us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have.
Crowd starts talking. Carney's still like leaning towards in this direction towards Trump, but he's as the crowd, the media talking, he won't look around. But yeah, the whole, like I've said many times, Trump's just there for we're gonna put on a show for it's Trump's mind is this is gonna be great for media. It's all about me. And when I say we'll helpfully manipulate people to my favour, well, that's what Trump's doing here.
They have. I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
Fucking idiot. He's so desperate. This man is desperate to annex Canada. Seen the change in expression there. He hated what Carney putting him in his place. Then it comes back, just keeps coming back, pointing the fingers at, but you never say never. It could happen, right? Yeah. I wonder how close it was to leaning towards Trump's pathetic fantasies of doing this. By Carney's opposition. It's a serious thing to think about, and a serious thing to Canadian voters to think about.
Well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, we want to
talk about different things, and
well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, we want.
I think Carney might have been there specifically to say, like, let's stop the tariffs. He's a one-sided shrug means, well, I want to talk about that as well. Yeah,
we want to protect our automobile business, and so does Mark. But we want to make the automobiles.
See, when someone's kind of giving you a half-truth, and they say they don't know, you get half a shrug when they're not sure about something. But it could have been Carney just adjusting himself. I don't mean Carney's being dishonest there, but it's like kind of responding to what Trump was saying. Well, we talk about different things here and there. Carly's not there to agree to any shit that Trump pulls out his ass with the annex Canada and agree to these bullshit tariffs either, though.
And we want to, we have a tremendous abundance of energy, more than any country. We have, just in Alaska alone, and
See how long you survive without hydroelectrics that is running on Canada's Niagara Falls. Powers a lot as well.
Anwar has been reopened now. Anwar is probably the largest find anywhere in the world. They say it's larger than Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but it's a lot. But we have tremendous amounts of energy. Other countries don't. We're both lucky in that way. They have energy. We have energy. We have more than we can ever use. And
if you have more resources or more energy than you could ever use, fuck off then. Show your strength and show how much you can rely on yourself. You can't, can you? You're weak.
More than we could ever sell, actually, and you have the same thing. So we're two countries that are very lucky. If you look at China, they don't have that. It's a big disadvantage.
Yeah, China, production capital of the world.
Other countries, most countries don't have. Most countries don't have that. So Canada and us, we have a lot of advantages over other places.
When you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No.
Not for Carney.
Not at all. No, not at all. No time.
No, but who looks at the ground when he says no? Carney doesn't. Trump does. Watch.
Mr. Carney just said that Canada is not for sale. Does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
No, not at all. What's on the floor? Is it the lack of people? There's nobody on the floor to look at while you're being dishonest. Carney is fine with that. He looks around, makes eye contact, but Trump doesn't. And go. It's very telling.
No, time. Time will tell. It's only time.
Time will tell, and here he goes again, hinting at annexing Canada. Never say never. This is the thing with stubborn narcissistic people. This is the most annoying thing about them. The more you tell them no, they're going to do the exact opposite. No matter how many times he's going to be told that is not going to happen, he's going to delude himself into thinking that it's going to happen. He's going to keep pushing for it. Keep that in mind. Especially Canadians, please keep that in mind. Can Canada keep a close eye on your media and who owns it? Especially if it's owned by any American group of big chain of media outlets.
Time. But I say, never say never.
Kind of can't believe what he's hearing. He's looking down.
Carney just said that Canada is not for sale. Does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time. Time will tell. It's only time. But I say, never say never.
Carney's sudden head drop was like, here we go again. Can we move on to more important discussion? It's like, here we go again. This repetitive loop that is stuck in here.
I've had many, many things that were not.
And you're never say never. Oh, gonna look away, brush off the imaginary lint there. You'll do that on the clothing. So pick up the clothing and brush off some lint that is in there. As a sign, it's a coping thing. It's a bit of a nervousness. It's just feeling awkward or annoyance. more annoyance in Carney's mind, I would think, than anything else. And again, as he's hearing this idiot go, never say never as well, brushing off, compressing, looking away and compressing his mouth. He wants to say something. Probably wants to say, can we shut up about that? Because it's not for sale. It's not going to happen. It's not a case of never say never. It's not going to happen. We are a sovereign country. We're not going to be taken over by you. Fuck off. You know, but the politicians, you can't really say that. You can't. But it's I don't know. It's how you feel that how you would rather say in a more ideal situation where you're allowed to say these things, but you got to be politically correct and got to be professional and so on, right? Carney, a lot of self-control.
Doable,
And the shrug, the one-sided shrug here is like, as I say, well, what the hell? How can you believe any of that? Like,
ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, you know, Canada loves.
there's no benefit for Canada to be part of America. There's actually no benefit for anybody to be part of America right now. Stop the delusion that you've done since your inception. That is so fucking great. You're disgusting.
Us and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens. China.
We'll see. We'll see over time what happens. And Carney's body language is now taking up more space. Protecting, you know, as tribes, as cavemen, we would do things like that to take up more space, protecting our territory. And it's quite literal in this way. It's like, no, Canada's not for sale.
They want to meet, and they're doing no business right now. And those ships are turning around in the Pacific Ocean. Big turn. Those are big ships. Those ships take about 10 miles to turn. And, you know, we lost $1 trillion to China on trade because of an incompetent president that we had who
No, it's because of you, you fucking idiot. It's like,
me grossly incompetent.
ships are arriving with like almost empty containers because China is refusing to send stuff because of the big rise in tariffs. Because of what he did with tariffs, you know, Biden didn't mess with the tariffs. And he's now blaming that has caused that on Biden. Anything that works in his favor, in America's favor, in the whole country, he'll claim credit for it, even if it wasn't him. Anything that goes wrong, oh, it must have been Biden's fault. How long would he be in presidency before he can't say that? Well, again, he's a delusional narcissist. It doesn't matter how long. People who are logical and use logical consistency and reasoning already know it's an absurd thing to say. So it's already past its sell-by date to blame somebody else for the idiocy that's going on. He's been in power long enough now to not blame Biden.
You're finding it out more and more now.
Yeah, the whole world is finding out what a bag of shit you are. And how much you blame the world and other people when things go wrong, but when the reality is it's you that played the part in it going wrong.
And by not
Especially when it's him playing a part in it to go wrong.
trading, losing nothing. So we're saving.
Your rich oligarchs are losing nothing, but the average citizen is suffering.
$1 trillion. It's a lot. But they want to
He just made that up and pulled that out of his ass.
negotiate, and they want to have a meeting, and we'll be meeting with them at the right time. I have not met with them, of course. You would know if I met. I'd tell you they want to meet, but you know we are right now. Look, they're suffering greatly. Their economy is suffering greatly because they're not doing trade with the U.S. and they may.
No, they just look for do trade for other countries. I don't think they're suffering greatly. They're very. They don't need. You know, there's a lot of rhetoric out there. They're suffering here and there. Any financial suffering would be extremely temporary for China. Because they just trade with somebody else. They are the production capital of the world, after all. They are top dog. In production capital framework viewpoint, they are top of the food chain. When it comes to not necessarily food, but physical goods especially.
Made most of their money off the U.S. Don't kid yourself. They don't make the money off other countries like this, and they were making.
Not for long, fucker. You'll be lucky to get a decent clothing before the end of June. You'll be lucky to get decent anything that you've had before for years. I know people use a lot of rhetoric that they look on the back of something, oh, made in China, no wonder it's crap. Sure, they do produce a lot of crap as well, but they produce some pretty good stuff as well. Yeah, never mind.
We had a trade imbalance. We had a deficit, or they had a surplus. Another way of saying it, of more than $1 trillion. Think of it, more than $1 trillion. And because of 145%, that's the only reason, but because of they have now 145% tariff, there's no trading. You can't trade with 145%. We are therefore making, in a certain way, I guess, $1.1 trillion. In other words, we're not losing $1.1 trillion. Our deficit is much better. When I started, I say we were losing billions of dollars. That's rapidly turning around. We looked at.
He has no idea any of this works. It's
numbers this morning. So we were losing, the United States during Biden was losing more than.
Can't fucking read anyway. Oh, he looked at numbers this morning. He was just told a bunch of bullshit to keep puppeteering in because somebody wants to see America destroyed from the inside out anyway, and he's just a very easy tool to do so. Probably. I mean, it's one theory.
I won't even give you numbers because they're so embarrassing, but billions.
I won't give you numbers because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Billions of dollars a day on trade. Those numbers are rapidly turning between the tariffs. Don't forget, we're now getting 25% on cars, 25% on aluminum, 25% on steel, and maybe more importantly, massive numbers of companies are moving into the United States.
No, they're moving out. It's the exact opposite. But again, the narcissist always does the exact opposite to what the reality dictates. This is all fantasy driven.
Honda, we have tremendous, the car companies are moving in at levels we've never seen.
No, the car companies have complained a lot over and over about the costs and wrapping up business and outsourcing. America doesn't even make something as basic as the fucking light bulb anymore. Fair play.
Before. The biggest investment ever made in the United States is being made right now. Trillions of dollars. I would say
the biggest investment for the world is being made right now is outsourcing getting untangling themselves from American trade, American bullshit.
We could be at $9 trillion. You could go back to other presidents. They haven't had $1 trillion for their entire term. Look at Biden. He had bad numbers. People were leaving. They weren't coming in. They were leaving with Biden.
The other way around again.
And he didn't know the difference. The only thing he knew is people coming in. You know who they were? Illegal immigrants. Okay.
Fucking hell. Complete fantasy land he doesn't live in. But again, this is what narcissists do. They live a fantasy. They exist a fantasy. And they blame the rest of the world when the fantasy doesn't work, and blame other people for their own ineptness, dysfunction. Again, just like Aaron Costello. Stop deluding yourself to thinking that you could educate or get Aaron Costello to stop doing things, or she would have stopped already. She will continue to be in contempt of court as well, among other things. Yeah, what happened to Michael? Remember Michael? Was it Michael? Hearing a voice in the background during her live shows. He didn't hang around for too long, did he?
From prisons, from mental institutions, from all sorts of places that weren't good, from gangs, from Venezuela.
Foreigners are nasty. Very Hitler-esque as anyone. Bringing disease over. Let's deport people. Let's deport the Jews. I don't know. I mean, you're Jewish. Like, keep shut about it. He should get deported because he might even copy even more accurately what Hitler was doing. But regardless, it doesn't matter because you're under threat anyway. America's going to be turned into a form of martial law by using your military and the yes men within military, because it's going to happen. Military officials are going to quit, and that's going to be very difficult for them, but they're going to quit. And they're going to be replaced with idiots. And the idiots are already there, are going to be maintained to do things that are just Trump's bidding, Trump's wish. Don't like the look of you, get you deported or eliminated or worse or whatever.
They were coming in and they were criminals and murderers. 11,888 people that murdered, and at least half of them murdered more than one person. This is what Biden led into our country. I'm bringing in big companies.
Some people are dying and suffering because you're ineptness. And how many people died because they had an ectopic pregnancy? That's murder.
We have Apple is investing $500 billion.
Apple is suffering. People aren't buying Apple products because it's too expensive because the rise on tariffs from parts from China.
We have Jensen, as you know, is going to be 500 biggest chip maker, or chip thinker, I call him. He's really a trillion. We don't know. All of a sudden, next 2 weeks, your country. All they have to do is that people are.
Had enough of this.
Anymore, you know, anymore, and whatever we want, or to bring whatever we want. It's very.
It's only so long I can watch him just blurt out utter crap and garbage and then act like it's true when it's not. While people are suffering because of this idiot. Fucking dickhead.
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please.
Still a bit self-soothing from Carney, understandably.
Don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
Where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear it. The very good source. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source.
Does he even know how to trust his sources? If there was one? Doubt it. Who's got credibility and who hasn't? He doesn't understand credibility at all, so how would he understand seeing it in other people, even if they've got it or not?
No, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be bombed anymore. You know, I sort of thought that would happen. No, behind you, please.
Clarifying something you said on USMCA, is the U.S. prepared to walk away from that pact?
From what pact?
A lot of intensity, a lot of shouting, fighting for conversation, and a lot of bizarre answers from Trump. And Mark Carney has keyed in on that. This is just chaos. Hence, Mark Carney's increased breathing. Look at the Thai area and Mark Carney. Mark Carney's very controlled and very astute in his approach, self-control, but there are always leaks.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be bombed anymore. You know, I sort of thought that would happen. No, behind you, please.
So watch Mark Carney's chest. He's breathing faster here.
From what pact? No. It's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain things. It's there. We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible. Actually, she was a terrible person, and she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal, and she didn't.
Mark Carney is looking down in disappointment because that's what Trump does. Is just the kisses the ass of anyone who's in power and smear campaigns everybody else because he wants to control that person who's in power. It's like he just sees, he sucks up to world leaders, whether they're corrupt or not. Tries to. It's just gross. Mark Carney's looking at him in disbelief, I think, at this point. There's a tilt to Mark's head, which, when people do that, they are listening. And he can't believe what he's hearing. It's just the childlike rhetoric from this idiot is very childlike. It's worrying, it's bizarre, it's very concerning.
He didn't get away with it. You know what I'm talking about. But so we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal, and we ended it. We ended that relationship pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust.
All right, Mark Carney wants to talk. All this whole thing for Trump was like, hey, I'm important. I got Mark Carney here from Canada, and yes, notice me, and get the cameras on me, please. And it's so disrespectful. Mark Carney's there to have a serious conversation, and again, not only Trump still, even now, this far in, has not bladed his torso towards Carney, where Carney has. His Carney hand out gesture, elbow away from his rib cage, ready to expose himself and talk. Hey, can we have an intelligent conversation here?
Or terminate it.
I'll say a word on USMCA if I may, Mr. President.
Yeah. Can I say something, if I may? Give me a fucking gap here. Instead of all this constant sewage that comes out of Trump's mouth. As Carney starts talking and takes the floor, Trump goes back to this hunched thing. Again, it's the same position. It's pathetic. It's weak. Looks at the ground and hands in front of his nuts again. Probably going to be doing the nodding thing again, like as if he trying to make it look like he knows what's being said, but he doesn't. So he default to stupidity things like, "Oh, Canada is so beautiful. We should annex Canada," or some other crap that he might blurt out.
It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change. And part of the way you've conducted these tariffs has taken advantage of existing aspects of USMCA. So it's going to have to change. There's other elements that have come, and that's part of what we're going to discuss.
Right.
Part of what you want to discuss, but it just doesn't seem to be getting there, does it? This man creates chaos all around him. He is chaotic.
During the campaign, Prime Minister Carney talked about the American betrayal. How do you react if Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries?
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint.
Yeah, sure you don't. I mean, what about pickup trucks? You know, a lot of those are made in Canada. A lot of things are exported from Canada.
They do a lot of business with us. We're at like 4%.
Carney's like, well, he looks up in the air thinking about things. Is like, well, not really. Watch his head.
Campaign, Prime Minister Carney talked about the American betrayal. How do you react if Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries?
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint. They do a lot of business with us.
So Carney looks up in a thinking, thinks about that statement.
We're
With a blink there and think, hang on a minute. Well,
at like 4%. And usually those things don't last very long. You know, we have great things, great product, the kind of product we sell, nobody else can sell, including military. Look, we make the best military equipment in the world, and Canada.
yeah, the SAS mantra has been for a long time. Americans, they got all the best toys, but they got no fucking clue. Sorry, but, you know, Special Air Service, say it, not me.
Buys our military equipment, which we appreciate, but we make the best military equipment in the world by far. The missiles, the submarines, everything we have is really top notch. I rebuilt our military during
For much longer. We're going to get the raw materials from to make those things. Carney again, compressed lips, wants to say something, looking down. There's a lot of suffering going on here. This man is so... He's chaotic, he's poisonous, he's fucking gross.
during our last term, stupidly, we gave some away to Afghanistan, which shouldn't have happened. But that was, I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Well, you could argue that Donald Trump is the most embarrassing thing in the history of America, really. I mean, let's face it. Fucking rapists running your country.
It was just very incompetent people. But if you look, the man that's now the head of our Joint Chiefs, he led the attack on ISIS for me. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And Raising Cane, he was unbelievable. And as you know, we defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. And he ran the campaign. I said, I like him. But I knew him before. I went to Iraq, and we agreed to a plan, and that was the plan. And
I this, I that. Me, 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 me.
as you know, we did it in record time. So
Carny's expression is just it's just waiting, an expression of waiting. Focus, but waiting is like, you're gonna shut up, yeah, and we're gonna talk about things properly, yeah. And we're just waiting for you to do your ego trip and get on.
we have, we have the best equipment in the world. We have the best, a lot of things, and but Canada, it does a lot more business with us than we do with Canada. Yeah.
Mr. President, can I go back to your investments, Mr. President? When do you think the investments that you've announced, the trillions, will finally hit economic data this year?
When you're saying about the tariffs?
No, about the investments that you've announced.
Oh, it's hitting right now. Look, they're already starting AI plans. These are not people that look for financing. That's a good thing. In real estate, you get a site, then you have to look for financing. You have to get your zoning. 5 years later, you start building. You get a bank, then the bank's no good. These people have massive amounts of cash. The CHIPS Act was a ridiculous thing because that doesn't get them to build. All we did is hand very wealthy companies money. The CHIPS Act that was done by Biden. Billions, we give them billions of dollars. They don't even have to do anything with it. And then if you weren't, if you didn't have, and I don't want to be a wise guy, but if you didn't go with the DEI, if you didn't go with all of the different things, woke, if you weren't woke, you couldn't even use the money. You had to have a certain percentage of this and that and that and that. It's impossible to have. The people.
Right. Let's pause this shithead for now. And we'll bring this in. Top 10 Canadian contributions to the United States and the world. Why has Canada contributed to the United States and the world? Number 10. Canadian ginger ale, created by pharmacist John McLaughlin in 1907. Ginger ale grew in popularity in the United States during the height of the Prohibition years, as the ginger helped mask the smell of liquor. Poutine, French-Canadian dish, French fries, cheese, curds, and gravy. It's so good. Peanut butter, patented by Marcellus Gilmore Edison in 1884. It was developed to serve as a dietary supplement for people with poor to no teeth. Again, these are just to name a few of the many foods we all know and love. Quebec, Canadian province of Quebec, is a contribution in and of itself. It gives the world the ability to sample French culture without having to go to France, where people are usually less hospitable to tourists. I am always happy to find that my American friends have or want to drive to Montreal to sample their unique architecture, food, and language. As a Quebecer myself, I'd just like to say that we love to share our French heritage and our southern neighbours and the world. And, sorry, there's no and there. So come to Quebec the next time you want to experience something different. Telephones, rifles, and insulin. Yeah, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. It was Scottish-born but Canadian living inventor. Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone, was a Scottish Canadian living in the United States when he registered his patent. Later became an American through immigration. It could, if you really want to be pedantic and nuanced, you know, oh, he was British then. Or UK. Scottish, right? Well, no, not necessarily. I don't know if it was because his parents were Scottish, actually. I can't think he was born Scottish. Born in Scotland. But then moved to America from Canada. N1 Grand rifles. Canadian-born John C. Grand invented the rifle when he worked at the Springfield Armory. Called the greatest battle implement ever devised by General Patton, the M1 was a revolutionary new weapon for its time and became the standard weapon of the United States Army from 1936 to 1957, serving as a principal rifle for soldiers in World War II, Korean and Vietnam Wars. Insulin, discovered by Frederick Banting, Charles Best and James Collip as a treatment for diabetes. Insulin has saved countless lives. There are many more Canadian inventions that we all use daily. These are just to name a few. Snowmobiles. Bombardier is a company that began in 1941 by Joseph Armand Bombardier. He is credited for inventing the snowmobile, and from those humble beginnings, but a multinational business and trouble reading, sorry, it's that time of day. Built a multinational business that now builds everything from commuter trains, airplanes, and in brackets de Havilland, Challenger, Canadair, and Learjets, and recreational vehicles, Ski-Doos, Lynx, Sea-Doo, ATV, and the new Can-Am Spider. Yeah. The picture there of the I think marked as Canada in orbit. Canadarm, developed by National Aeronautical Establishment in 1981, used by NASA. The Canadarm is our little contribution to the space exploration. For NASA, America's space program, has done a lot for science. But the Trump administration is very anti-science. The Canadarm has proven itself to be an invaluable tool used to do everything from launching satellites to building the International Space Station. Celine Dion as Cirque du Soleil. Celine Dion and the Cirque du Soleil. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. My apologies if I'm not. Are credited for saving Las Vegas after tourism dropped following September 11, 2001. Their regular performances at the casino on the Strip helped attract more visitors who were avoiding plane travel. Tourism now is going to be dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping in America, and it is. And yet you got Trump blurting out Tourism's doing great. The economy's doing great. But the numbers don't reflect that. And Green Gable. I was a big fan of the Anne of Green Gables books and movie series, as well as offshoot TV series Road to Avonlea, Avonlea as a kid. But I am always shocked at how popular the series was in the United States. Inspiring a generation of children to read is never a bad thing. Yeah, we got Trump closing down whatever it was that was maintaining libraries in the United States. Lacrosse, hockey, baseball, and basketball. I'm not sure of the reason, but Americans and fans worldwide have really embraced Canadian sports. If you are unsure of what I'm talking about, let's name a few games that have made their way into America. Lacrosse, the official Canadian sport. Lacrosse is, am I pronouncing that? Lacrosse is played throughout the United States in high schools and universities. I'm not sure what that game includes. I'm ignorant to that. I know what hockey and baseball and basketball is. Hockey, the unofficial national sport of Canada. The United States has more hockey teams in the NHL than Canada. Baseball did this one catch you may. Baseball did this one catch you by surprise? Not really. Variations of bat and ball games have been played since medieval times, but the version that closely resembles modern day baseball was played in Betchville, Ontario in 1838, soon after baseball was played throughout the United States. So Canada basically invented baseball. Basketball, created by Canadian American Dr. James Naismith, as a way to keep children at the local YMCA physically active in the winter. Basketball was originally played using a peach basket as the net. Gasoline, the gas that you pump, is partially Canadian. In fact, the United States only produces 35% of its own oil and gas consumption. That's very important. The remaining 65% has to be imported. 65% from other countries, including Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. But the majority of the United States oil imports come from Canada at a whopping 51%. That makes Canada the single largest supplier of oil and gas to the United States. Now, if that's not enough to have you worried, I don't know what to tell you. You just don't understand the world. Credited by a Canadian hockey player of the same name, Tim Hortons is by far the symbol for Canadianship and is expanding rapidly into the United States. There are over 5,100 Timmies, in brackets, as we affectionately call them, in operation throughout the world. In the United States, locations are spread throughout the northern states. but their expansion is expected to continue. Is it ready though? To state the economy? How about they just ship everything back to Canada and say fuck you America at the current state of things? The coffee is better, the donuts are better, and they make healthy sandwiches. When you are too tired of eating burgers in Canada, you almost never see a line outside of Starbucks like you do at Tim Hortons. Yeah, well, I wouldn't be queuing up outside of Starbucks or Burger King or McDonald's in the UK anyway. I'm not going to eat your American shit. Sorry, but no thank you. Yeah, but there's a important point about resources, oil, and so on. That's just 10 things. That HubPage's article here, the writer of this article is considered a top 10. There's plenty in minerals and metals and things being mined out of the ground. I'm sure that is coming out of Canada as well, and the lumber as well. Trump says, "Oh, we don't need the lumber. We don't need anything from them." Okay, why don't you shut off the water and shut off the oil and see how they cope?
Well, the companies actually complained to me. They said they gave me all this money, but nobody can get these people.
I'm not here to listen to this garbage. Right, back to Carney. I want Carney in the picture because we'll read his language as well. So Carney's South Sudan isn't that intense. He's more open-handed there as well.
Love him to run for president on the other side, you know.
Carney looks, of course he does. He looks way healthier than Trump. He has a lot of vasculature in his hands there in a good way. It's not like his skin's thin. That's good, strong hands. So he's healthy, is what I'm saying. Relatively, and this is a problem in politics or around a lot of the democratic countries. Is people work to get into office and into power, and by the time they're too damn old. But Carney he's plenty of energy to him. He's plenty of vitality in him. I think that's very important.
I'd love to see that, but I don't think he's going to be running because that one project alone, well, that and the fires and a lot of other things, pretty much put him out of the race.
Carney's leaning, and he's like ready to open his hand, but he's also South Sudan at the same time. He's waiting for an opening, as he has for most of this, and tried here's an opening, but Trump wouldn't shut up. It's like, oh, okay, and then he tries again, but all right then, a number of times. Basically, what this is he's waiting for an opening to interject because he needs serious conversation, not just a child shouting, "Hey, look what I did! Look what I made!" Yeah, you made a disgusting, appalling existence for other fellow Americans, and they're all suffering for it.
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be
Carney just nodding, yeah, okay.
dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum, and
customers are paying that. The best way is people still, even now, don't understand the whole tariff thing. Look, if I was to have to pay a higher rate than usual, it suddenly went up, to send something to some other country or whatever, or to a customer or whatever, I would put the cost. So I'm not going to pay the cost. So raise the cost of the product to compensate for that. And it's what we do generally with just posting things as well in the UK. That's the best way to cut through any confusion, because people get hung up. It's a tax, but who pays the tax and so on. It's like, oh, governments pay tax. No, they get hung on. What stupid people do, hung on the assuming it's all complicated. And whose government does pays for it? No, the customer pays for it. Because if I had a business where you've ordered something, I like to send it to you, I have to pay for the postage and packaging, and suddenly the postage and packaging price has been hiked up a lot. Put it that way, for whatever reason. That's kind of like a tariff. It'd be extra costs for the service. So then I would increase the price of the product to compensate postage and packaging. And that's what happens anyway. So because I've increased the price, it's the customer who's paying for the product, therefore they're going to be paying for it. Companies don't pay it because they want to do business to make money, not lose money.
I think we have a baseline.
It's like Carney's.
Love to see that, but I don't think he's going to be running, because that one project alone, well, that and the fires and a lot of other things, pretty much put him out of the race.
Carney's tapping his foot there, waiting for an opening, getting impatient with tapping. It's like when you tap your fingers. You've all heard this before, like this tapping fingers on a desk. It's impatience. Guy's like tapping leaning. His left foot would be tapping, so his knee bouncing up and down there a little bit, and leaning towards Trump. He's self-soothing, but at the same time his hands kind of down and open, ready. Look, he's looking for an open, because he's looking for an opening to talk and get ready to gesture and say, by the way, this and this, whatever he wants to say.
It was supposed to be a simple train, and I think the media should take a look at it. And I'd love him to run for president on the other side. I'd love to see that, but I don't think he's going to be running, because that one project alone.
So he leans in there a bit.
Him to run for president on the other side. I'd love to see that, but
he's looking him up and down. He's like thinking, well, you're going to finish. Waiting for him to finish. He's waiting for all this garbage chaos to finish so he could actually talk about things that matter.
I don't think he's going to be running, because that one project.
Right, okay. I don't think he's going to be running. Is that the end of the conversation? He looks back to the crowd.
Alone. Well, that and the fires and a lot of other things.
Looks back to Trump.
Pretty much put him out of the race.
Simple nod in there. At the end of that, and Carney's not going no hope here at all, because as soon as Trump finishes bullshit, you got all the media in there by design, because Trump wants all the attention, ready to ask questions again, all shouting, all competing with each other. See that tap? Like, hang on a minute, I was going to interject. Watch his foot.
Him to run for president or the other.
That would be Carney's. Our right, Carney's left. Watch his knee.
The side, I'd love to see that, but I don't think he's going to be running, because that one project alone, well, that and the fires and a lot of other things, pretty much put him out of the race.
Shuffles side to side. He just wants all this. Poor fucker just wants an opening. But Trump's like, oh, I'm getting the attention, yeah, question after question. I'll point to you, ask me a question, that question. This whole thing has not been about a serious meeting between Carney and Trump. It's been all about Trump. By design, because that's who Trump is.
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with USMCA.
Carney's nodding in acknowledgement. Yes.
We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have.
Here we go, the accordion hands now. And watch prediction time. I predict that Trump's elbows will not leave his side.
Trade. They're paying.
Okay, it's even worse than that. He just went straight back to self-soothing between his legs.
Tariff on cars and steel and aluminum. And I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well. Right now, going no further, but we have
we're getting along well. We're going no further though.
an agreement.
Looking at the ground, we have an agreement. Looking at the ground again is not. It's, Carney during this whole thing, for the most part, he's looked around the room, looked at Trump. He's upright. He's making eye contact. Trump, that isn't. That is very pathetic. Trump's by comparison here.
We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada, which helps Canada out?
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies that.
Now look at what's his name? Mark. I keep remembering again his name. Let me see. Let me get his name right, then we can move on. His face looks like it's going to drop off. The downturned mouth is very expressionless. The eyes look down. It's a very dejected look. Marco Rubio. That's it. That's the right one, isn't it? Marco Rubio. Yeah. And it looks like his face is about to drop off. It's so. It's like he's very disappointed, I guess. He's empty. Like all the energy has been sapped out of him. And this is what people like Trump do. They sap your energy, almost like vampires like that. Suck all the energy out you.
15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested.
So when people do that, oh, this is interesting. Now this is something we could talk about. Is what Carney did there. Watch Carney.
Of their USMCA parts are included.
And for the most part, look at Trump's feet. They point in a direction the body wants, the mind wants to go. And his torso, his feet as well, all in line with the media in front of him. Not once did Trump's torso lean towards Carney. Carney's leaned inwards, more towards Trump during the whole conversation, which should tell you who's genuinely there for the conversation, who's there just for the attention. And to look good on camera. He looks like a bag of crap on camera anyway, but you just got to think of it from his worldview.
And then 15% of foreign parts from the.
Now we know why the plane was in the Oval Office, by the way. Isn't that a model of the plane that he was given? By Qatar? Yeah? God, the Oval Office looks gross, man. All this gold and this. And again, there's a lot of marble and white and gold in where he went to see Qatar. There's kind of similar designs and so on. In that, not designed so much, but the colouring. But I find it gross. It's the way he's done it, and it's the way it's done elsewhere. Knows how to do it. He doesn't know how to do it. It looks vile.
The manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance.
Trump's doing all the talking. Mark Carney wanted to talk there. He's about to. Again, let's have a look at the question though.
With the car companies, that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their.
Carney thought that was a good question, I think. When you hear things that you're pleased that are being asked or said, and you're paying attention, your foot. This is again, pay attention to people's feet. Your foot might go up. You think, oh, a break. Perhaps I'll talk about this, but quickly subverted as I. Oh, Trump's going to interject here and there. It was a question to invite both of them to talk, I think. Anyway, but watch Carney's right foot here. And I can't stress this as enough is watch people's feet. But this, look at the self-soothing Carney's doing loosely. Self-soothing J.D. Vance is doing. Dejected face at Marco Rubio is doing. Somebody else here is doing rather tight self-soothing with the hands. Again, but leaning forward by looks so it might be. So this woman here, this is doing the same. This person's doing the same because this asshole just generates this kind of atmosphere. None of them really feel too confident about being there. Not one of them. Very telling, isn't it?
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to build.
Guy's looking concerned, offering. I'm supposed to be here to have a conversation, but it's all about Trump.
Domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able.
See him raise his foot. Oh, I think I'll answer or say something here. That was a good question. He felt good about something sensible being asked. Or at least he might have thought it was sensible. Whether you do or not, I don't know. Again, it's neither here or there in the bigger picture of things. It's just things get more emphasized when there's very little opportunity because people, human nature, values rarity.
To build their car
It quickly goes back down. You go, oh, okay then.
Factories, if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to.
Having a factory is only one step of the way. Next, you got to put the machinery in the factory. Next, you got to put the employers in the factory. You've got to have somebody who is a company to run the factory and employ them. Then you got to pay for health and safety. That's before you even get any materials in. You got to give them uniforms. Again, health and safety as well. And you got the materials to go into a factory to manufacture something from the materials, and where you're going to get the materials from. Anyway, factories don't produce materials just out of thin air. Fucking idiot. This is the thing with the MAGA nut jobs out there. They think you wave a wand. Today, factory, then now we can make stuff in America and only American products. It doesn't work that way. It's extremely childlike. Like playing some kind of sim, like Sim City. I played in the early 90s one time. I had a dabble with it. It's just point and click and put a factory somewhere and it's producing these things right away. And there was no there was no import or anything from the raw materials or anything or other. It's just very childlike.
Build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial.
I think I'll look down and wait for him to finish again. Hopefully I'll get a gap again and interject.
Period of time. I think.
A number of times he tries to interject and he's talked over. It's like, it's like, why he has to gesture out as well.
Tariffing cars.
Tariffing Canada. Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you?
Yeah, we're friends, or we just want to be friends with Canada, but we're going to tariff the fuck out of Canada, though, which doesn't make it very friendly. Good question.
To lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
And here you get the most bizarre, pathetic answer, if I remember right. I think he says, just the way it is.
Just the way it is.
Just the way it is. He's going to do his flex there and look away. It's like he's so fucking stubborn. He has this fantasy and warped idea that the tariffs work somehow in his favour. But I know you want to be friends with Canada, though. So let's roll back. How many times did Carney try to interject there? Because I get one of my Achilles' heels is I cannot stand being interrupted, especially the moment I start and then there's an interruption and I start again, there's no interruption. It's like, get a fucking clue. I'm trying to start something here and you're not noticing it and you're still interrupting. Pay attention. So I get with some of that.
We have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But
so again, let's count. Because I think he wanted to say something when he lifted his foot. Where was it? Yeah, here we go.
Of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price.
Yeah. Tariff everything. You're gonna. It's like parts come in from other countries to build things in other countries, and if you tariff everything from other countries, it's going to make the final product more expensive in your own country. And Trump thinks, oh, good. So we just. That means we'd be better off making stuff in our own country then. Where are you going to get the raw materials from? Oh, we don't mine this particular thing, so we can't have that part, or this or that. Fucking idiot.
Are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
so it gave them a chance
One.
to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time. I think.
Two.
Mr. President, is there anything the Prime Minister can say to you today to change your mind on tariffing Canada?
Tariffing cars.
Tariffing Canada. Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
You see a tap on Carney's right foot there. Big tap, lift and tap down, which could be a sign of annoyance anyway. Right on cue where Trump says no.
Your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
Three. It's cocky that this like I would stick my chest out now. Just myself, just the way it is. I gotta look away from you now, and just that's all I'm saying about that. You won't elaborate. You cocky prick. This is the third time. You count that as twice. 3, 4, 5,
Sure, I would. But this is not
6.
necessarily a one-day deal. This is over.
He looked at Trump. Is he going to let me get interject or not? Kind of sighed there and looked, and his mouth. He's not pleased at all. 6 times. Holy shit!
For a period of time, they have to make that decision.
Looking around, this is no good. This the expression I would be thinking. This is no good. Right.
Yes.
7.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, if respectfully,
You have to try it 7 times before people and it just shows Trump doesn't fucking care. And you know, his whole torso, even now, when he pretends to listen, going back to this default body language of pretending to listen, his head turns his head towards Carney, but his whole torso again is still aligned with the media and the cameras and everyone else. And here I are with open body language, and notice the elbow. The elbow is not by his rib cage, like ready to do Trump accordion hands, because Carney's more honest, genuine, unlike this bag of shit not sat right by him.
Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the
This is not going to change on the 51st state.
largest client of the United States. In the total.
Yeah. There you go. Anybody who would know and cares to educate themselves on knowing if they didn't know before would be Carney. Trump wouldn't. Again, look at that. You cocky prick. I would so love to see somebody knock the fucker out. When I see that kind of cocky, I'm going to play on because I'm getting ready. Pisses me off big time.
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period.
You see Carney's sigh there. So that last time he tried to gesture, right there.
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time. They
So he takes in a breath and breathes out a bit deep there. So
have to make that
it's subtle, but it's there.
decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, if respectfully, Canadians view
Every single time he's talking, this is its default scripted body position. It's just gross. He's not really listening. He pretends to listen. And he do his nodding. Yes. Yes, yes. He has no fucking idea what Tony's talking about because he doesn't even want to know. Typical Americanism. It's like, long as people can entertain me and I can get entertained, I'll consume. Is no. Why bother actually knowing anything?
view on this is not going to change on the 51st state.
Press his lips up there. He's like, it's not going to change when he heard that.
Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States.
We are the largest client of the United States.
In the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. we have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful.
Okay. Fair enough.
You know, 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world.
So half of so that means half of a car that comes from Canada is Canadian and half is American, right? And it's like, yeah, you just if we put the tariffs on there, that half that's not American, are you paying extra on that, or how are the parts? Are they transport the parts over? You got costs on that. Reciprocate higher tariffs, so that overall it's going to be higher anyway. Which is why tariffs, when you trade that way, when something's 51%, 50% one thing, 50% the other from country perspective, it's not really beneficial for either country. And customers pay the actual price, right? Customers pay the tariff.
And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved, and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions.
The only time you hear anything intelligent is in this room is when Kylie's talking, to be honest, though, in a bigger picture.
Discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada.
Okay, we'll stop. Canada, stop making cars for America. America doesn't want them. Trump said so. You don't want cars. Of course, it's not that easy, right? You need to do business somehow. But if it was within the power to just suddenly stop, do it. See what Trump says then. You say, oh yeah, but you say you don't want cars from us. So we decide to go elsewhere anyway, and we're doing fine. So why do we need to change now? You know, that would be in an ideal world if that was a thing that could happen. Oops, wrong button. Sorry about that. There we go.
And we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want
Steel plants. You've got steel mills to process the materials that come in. Have you got the mines to put the I can imagine the stupidity in America. It's like, build steel plants in America. Okay, where are you going to get materials from? Oh. Yeah, I got no mines. Oh, we'll take down the steel plants then. Or get it imported from other countries anyway. Canada. Iron. Is that right? There's iron ore coming out of Canada. You get steel from iron ore, by the way, and you might find that contradictory, but you don't get steel ore. Steel's made from a process from the iron ore. Of course, you can get iron, yeah, sure. But it's exactly the process, I don't know, but it's a whole thing around it. You get titanium ore. During the Cold War, you got titanium ore. I might have mentioned it already. From Russia to build the SR-71 spy plane flown during the Cold War. Yeah, and that is an interesting backstory of that. It's like the Russians paid for it. very interesting, kind of, because double agents were a thing.
Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it.
They got aluminum. Is that being mined? Coming out of Canada anyway, one way or another, for America.
Ourselves, and we, because of, you know, past.
So Trump's dumb enough to actually think, if you've got these factories that process the metals, then that you can make the metals in from that factory. Then instead of having it mined out the ground and transported to these factories and then processed. Fucking hell, what a dickhead.
Thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us, and there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically.
Oh, sure it can, because it do plenty of trade deals with other countries, and no one country can be totally isolated and succeed and be progressive. Just look at North Koreans, incredibly malnutrition, cutting themselves off from the world. You can't exist like that.
I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff.
Guy's not impressed at all. He's like, here we go again. Blubbering on again.
Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that.
Governor Trudeau, because again he was hinting at annexing Canada, and by default he's hinting at annexing Canada again. He goes, "Oh, I used to call him Governor Trudeau because you have governors of states in America, right?"
Probably didn't help his election, but when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff,
It's just back to waiting for Carney again. Here we go again. He's waiting. You got a lint, brushing a lint off. That, you know, people do this. It's like a kind of a self-soothing thing, but it's just a bit of an impatience thing as well. You're just waiting.
A tariff on your cars of 25%.
He's kind of nodding his head very subtly, barely see it, in a subtle way, out of the circular, yeah, get on with it kind of thing.
What would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said,
bullshit. So what would be the end of Canada again? Let me clarify. It's because Trump does this a lot. He says what he's said to a leader after the fact that he's pissed them off and they're not really communicating anymore as much. And he blurt out and say, that's what they said. And I noticed that very much of a pattern that he does.
When I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said
that would be the end of the production of those car companies in Canada. Canada will look for trade deals with elsewhere anyway, and kind of any particular cars as well. It's far more complicated than that, and Yeah, I highly doubt he said that somehow. And you got Carney raising his eyebrows as you see his forehead wrinkling in surprise. I don't think Carney believes for a second that that was said anyway.
Said that to me, and I said,
And Carney's looking up and around, taking a breath. It's like, here we go again, more bullshit.
"That's a strange answer, but I understand his answer." But
It's a strange claim. Watch Carney when he says that strange answer. He's damn right. It's fucking strange. There's no way he said that.
mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me, and I said, "That's a strange answer, but I understand his answer."
Try not to laugh. Actually,
No, I mean it's
you just can't be serious like that. And he's leaning in,
it's hard.
and he leans back away. He's like, thought perhaps there was an opening again, but Trump just blah 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 blah. But as it was Trump, he just runs his mouth like somebody on crack. He probably is anyway.
To justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year.
Wants to interject again.
We protect Canada militarily, and
Trump is barely noticed that Khan is even there in some of these moments, or he just blurting out, blabbering on, and you get those moments. Oh, you're still here? Yeah. Oh, interject. Forgetting the whole reason to be in the room to start with.
and we always will. We're gonna, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But
That face is either looking, this guy's a fucking idiot.
it's not fair. But why?
Tapping his foot again now. Again, the tapping of like the fingers would be. It's just.
That's not a money thing. But we always will. But it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial.
Tapping his foot again. Are you gonna finish talking shit yet?
Number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantive.
Geez, that was a big nothing burger for Carney. And it just bullshit from Trump, really. I know I skipped some of it because I just wanted to see what Carney was doing. The camera was on Trump for half the time, and Trump talked shit anyway. It's Donald Trump you'd know this by now. I mean, if I say that, well, of course it's Donald Trump. That's not me being hyperbolic. It's just learned experiences. If Trump's talking, he's bullshitting by default.
I'm just waiting for my pen. Sorry.
Look at Marco's face. Look at his face. Literally, it's like, what an empty shell of a person. He's just so. He used to be an individual that blurt out things against Trump, calling out Trump's idiocy, but now he's just. It's like he's sold his soul. He's just soulless face. Yeah. That's the one. Here on the left here, total fucking sociopath. Trump's PR secretary. Just gross.
I'm just waiting for my pen. Sorry. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, you okay? Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll leave it at that anyway. I mean, that's the best I can get out of Carney's body language because the situation didn't really leave him much chance at all. But it's very telling on the body language as well. It's like, who's got the credibility in that room? Carney, of course. Trump's utter disgusting disrespect of Carney, though. It's like, oh, you're here, but let me have the attention from the media first, and then in between pretend to be listening, but he's not really listening. It's like the same body position every time, and it's like, yeah, well, thank you, yeah, and then back to attention from the media again. There's nothing that came out of Trump's mouth. Of course, really, it's Trump. Yeah, that's really address what Carney was saying. That's all. Just fucking garbage. The man is just fucking fake. But then again, what I've said about narcissism and narcissistic people, they're fake through and through. Particularly Trump, particularly Aaron Costello, who's not really that important to talk about because she's not like a problem for the rest of the world, but Trump is. But yeah, people learn the hard way that these people are poisonous sometimes. Yeah. Very petty, petulant child. Trump is. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. I'll look forward to doing another video soon. This is coming out as part 2. Yeah. Again, you know, we could look up other things that really America has needed Canada for here and there. It may be in another video, but who thought I'd have a fun tertiary look. That's what I did. And just, I don't, bizarre. Welcome to North Korea 2.0, and it's going to get worse and worse. It's going to more and more militarized. As well as a warning, I've said you needed. Look, you had riots at the Capitol for all the wrong reasons. The wrong reasons during Trump's first term. Now you got no riots at the Capitol for all the wrong reasons. So you're fucked either way. You're done. You're finished. And it's frightening for Canada to be right next to you, let alone frightening for the rest of the world. You're fucked. And the rest of the world needs to adjust around this boulder in the way and just flow around you and just leave you behind. Just saying comes to mind from Bruce Lee: be water, my friend. Now water can crash or it can flow. You need to detangle yourself from America. Just flow around it, leave it behind, and do trade and agreements and deals with other countries. Detangle yourself from America, even from an individual standpoint. I've learned that some products I were buying were an American company, and no, I'm not buying that anymore. we didn't do in the UK what Canada has done, but I think it was brilliant what Canada did, is they'd have in-store things that were labeled to let people know this is American, to see how that would go in Canada, how people would behave in terms of what they're buying and not buying, and yeah, it turns out a lot of people say, "Oh, that's American." Nah, not buying it. Yeah. How about buying Canadian? Anything Canadian in the UK, go buy it. Anything else? There's Polish stuff in the UK. There's stores that sell Polish food things that we have in the UK. I know German as well. Yeah, why not just ditch America altogether, because it has to be at the point. Cannot be trusted in any way, shape, or form on any metric. Defunding so many things that are responsible for regulation on its own would be a detriment to any food that comes out of America, let alone any goods, other goods. Yeah. Beef, chicken, anything else, all the meats that come out of America, no thank you. Yeah. Maybe I should do a video on what is, for people in the UK, what is American, what products are American. Companies that were selling stuff for the UK. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Take care. You have a good day, night, whatever time it is for you. I look forward to doing the next video. Bye.